Alright, just give me the countdown and I'm gonna press start. We're off.
Alright, everybody, you guys thought you got to get rid of me, but I'm Figbird, joined with Jack and Miss Wedge, and this is Summoning Salt front of MTPO, or Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Got a lot in store for you guys today. Hopefully you're excited for this.
I'm certainly excited, Figbird. SummoningSalt is the world record holder in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in both the RTA and in-game time categories. And here we have him battling Glass Joe with a very embarrassing 1 in 99 record. And what Salt is doing is a buffer strategy. All these movements are just lined up perfectly, and how it works is no matter what delay you get from Joe, you're going to hit that perfect punch at 42 seconds and put him down for 10 count.
And the one thing to note that usually the game is timed with in-game time, which we'll see after each fight, but because this is a live event, we're going to be looking at kind of as an RTA run. So the fact that he did the multiple little beeps with his little taunt means that there was a little bit of wasted time. We'll also see some fighters get up like sort of false get ups, and those are then their way to sort of RNG lose time. Next here we've got Von Kaiser. He's got a little bit of a trick to him. You can basically knock him down with one hit off of any stun to star punch, but you start the fight by just hitting a few times to get the stars so that you can knock him down. From here, depending on the strategy that you're going with, it's essentially going to be a couple of quick hits, and then you should get up with low enough HP for a star to go pretty easily there.
Yeah, what happens here is, as long as you don't take any damage against Von Kaiser, he gets up on a 1 count the first time. And any boxer in this game that gets up on a 1 count will go down in one shot, as long as you hit him with a star. So typically, that is the strategy to go when playing for speed. Get as many 1 counts as possible for those ultra-quick knockdowns.
It also helps in RTA because, again, there's less time with the countdown, which can be variable for RNG's sake. So next we got ourselves Honda, or Piston Honda. He's actually kind of a technical fight in a lot of ways, but for the speedrun it can be a little bit easy to pull off. We're going to start with 3 stars to gut punches. These are manipulating his guard, which is essentially just holding the up button. And after you get the 3 stars, you throw them, but you delay between the first and second one so that you get a maximum damage. You're also holding up during those times because you're manipulating his guard again, so that you'll drop it and you'll get those extra punches in it after the stars to get 3. He gets up on a 1 count, which means we just have to hit him 1 time with a star, because anytime a fighter gets up on that 1 count, a star will knock him in. And at the 3rd phase here, or the 3rd part after he gets up a 2nd time, we're going to do the same thing we did in the beginning with the 3 stars, and then throw the 3 stars, and that should take him down.
There is a bit of variance in this 3rd phase, though. Honda has 2 different refills, and here Salt got the bad refill, so it's going to take him an extra 3 seconds by the in-game clock to put him down for the TO. Whereas if he got the good refill, he only would have needed to throw 2 of the star punches to finish the fight.
Alright, and so that concludes the 1st circuit. Now we get to have one of my favorite parts of the game, which is the wonderful song of Figbird Stole My Bike.
It's a pretty good minor circuit.
Yeah, it definitely
All
was.
things considered, got decent in-game times. I got 5 count wasn't great, bad refill wasn't great. I don't know what my count was on Kaiser, but it was pretty solid. Happy with it.
Oh yeah, nothing to argue with there. Spot on so far, Salt. You keep up the good work, man.
And it looks like we're going into Dawn 1. This fight is fairly straightforward. There's a buffer strat, which we talked about a little bit in Glass Joe, which allows you to get a star off of Dawn, which allows you to knock him down very quickly. And then it's just a matter of dodging and punching. So you'll see this buffer strat where you punch and then you dodge a 2nd time, and you get that star punch. And you just throw it out there.
Yeah,
now this next part.
Perfect buffer, and it is so nice because that star is frame perfect. You have a 1/60th of a second window to land the delayed hit and get a star, so the buffer is extremely useful there.
Yeah, but it makes a really easy fight too because that 1 star punch is like me. That last bit there, he's not going to get up at this point because we took him down so quickly. Essentially all you're doing is you're dodging, and the closer you can get to the dodge from this punch, the faster your punches will be, which can decrease that down to 1497, I think is the lowest time you can get.
That's correct. Well, you technically can go lower by using the clock stop glitch, but we don't do those shenanigans.
That's alright. Now we got our favorite fighter. This is the brick wall to anybody who's going for a good time. This is Mr. Hippo, or King Hippo. He's basically an entirely RNG fight. The only thing that isn't really RNG is when he throws his first punch. So you saw the little dodges there that kind of times another buffer strat. And you have to hit him in the face as quickly as you can when he starts to open his mouth. And it allows you to punch him in the gut. Now if you do it quickly, you get 10 punches, which means you only have to do it 3 times, which Salt managed to pull off pretty well and got a 41. This can be
Abandon RTA. Abandon RTA. We're going single segment strats.
Oh man, so Salt told me earlier before that he was going to go for actual world record attempts here with the actual in-game time if he got a good hippo, and that is a solid hippo. So we're going to see ourselves a little bit of the non-RTA strats here for what's coming up.
That was like 10% luck maybe. That was really good.
Why don't you talk about Mr. Tiger here, Mr. Jackamus?
Well, Great Tiger is one of the simplest fights. You can see right here what Salt is doing. He's provoking counterattacks from Great Tiger, and then delaying the right gut to get a star. The window for that star is really, really huge, so those punches are pretty easy to land. And what happens is, you want to set up your first phase so that you have 2 stars once you knock him down. As long as you get Tiger down under a minute and have not taken damage, he's going to keep getting up on 1, so we've got 2 ultra-fast knockdowns here to finish off the fight.
That makes it a real quick and easy one. Essentially 0 RNG for this fight. Although those delay punches, even though they have a big window, I personally find them hard because I hate delays. Delays are the worst.
I prefer the older strategy on Great Tiger Melt because you can fully buffer it if you want, but it only gets you a 51 or so instead of a 48. But now we've got Bald Bull, and the first phase of Bald Bull is probably my favorite knockdown in the whole game. It's just non-stop buffered offense, and we'll get him down at 17 seconds every time.
Yeah, the only thing you have to do is delay between the second to last and the last punch because you have to wait for his guard to drop. But otherwise, it's entirely buffered.
Mm-hmm.
Now this part
where Luck can take over the fight. Salt did get a lucky start at the start of phase 2, so we're going to have a slightly faster fight. And Bull did also go into the rolling jab, so we're going to go into phase 3 with 3 stars in reserve. So Bull is being pretty nice to Salt here so far.
And it's one of those fights that has a lot of variability to what he actually does after you get that first knockdown. There's essentially like 3 or 4 different ways he branches, and it gets kind of crazy and complicated when you're running the fight. But that was a solid 1 of 3 though. So
This pace is insane.
Yeah,
Like,
you are right, Salt.
I'm just gonna come right out and say it. This is like 41 and 103. Like,
yeah,
alright.
That's intense, man. Let's hope we can see that 55 Tyson, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch controllers super quick because I have a better controller for Honda too. So.
Do what you gotta do, man. Keep the pace up. Run's looking real, real good.
Yep, you get some more Figbird Stole My Bike. Best part of this game.
Absolutely. And we're gonna actually get to see a more interesting Honda 2 fight here, because Salt's going for the in-game time strats now, after the crazy good luck he's been getting so far. So instead of a full buffered fight against Honda 2 here, which is just going to get an easy one-punch KO at the 1 minute mark, we're going to see a whole lot of crazy guard manipulations, and basically Salt's going to wail on this guy for 45 seconds non-stop, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is where we get to see the Dizzy Destroyers, which are essentially a tactic used to manipulate the guard and get 2 quick punches on the fighter.
We're actually seeing slightly modified Dizzy Destroyers in the first phase, because there's 2 gut punches and 2 face punches instead of a gut into a face.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with these particular strategies, but Salt nailed it again with the 49. That's a very solid time.
Still in there.
Yeah, the only way that fight could have been better is if Salt got a better refill in phase 2. He could have been looking at a 45 or a 46. But yeah, anything under 50 seconds on Honda 2, anything under a minute is really, really good, because it's tough to get 3 knockdowns that quickly on him.
Alright, so now we're going into Soda Popinski. He's another RNG fight. He has a lot of variability into how long he delays, if he throws extra hooks, or if he goes into the uppercuts. What we want is those uppercuts, because what you just saw is SummoningSalt here. He did essentially a holding the down button, or kind of blocking. And if he goes into an uppercut, you'll kind of pause, and then you can get a free gut punch, which sets a flag to where the next star punch you land will knock him down every time.
Yeah, that's right. So the fastest way to defeat Soda Popinski is to just do that 3 times in a row, but you need the luck to line up in order to be able to get the fastest fight.
So far, we're seeing a pretty decent fight here. Not the best, but definitely solid still.
This is pretty close to the best pace anyone's ever been on. Just
What
gonna
did I tell
move
you,
on
man? You just need
to
to have me around for your run.
Yeah, you just had to have something like 1,000 people watching you play, man. That's all.
Or not to mention the fact that when we did our races for the tournament recently, he got world record RTA time against me, and then he did the not quite another world record, but better than the world record that was previous to the run that we did. So, you know, just keeping that trend up. So Bolt 2, you start the fight off with a couple of quick star punches. They're very important because it sets the RNG that he's going to do for his third action. So if you miss those 2 stars, everything changes. But because he got them, the rest of this fight is pretty straightforward. You essentially get stars and you knock him in the face with a stun punch. This is a fight that you can't actually knock him down with anything but a stun star punch. So essentially you want to just build those up and then throw them. I mean, it's a fairly simple fight besides those first 2 punches.
Yeah, the execution at the start of this fight is easily the hardest part. From there, it's very free. For a World Circuit fight, you should never really be losing a run to Bull 2. There's basically no RNG in the fight whatsoever. No significant RNG anyway. It's just very straightforward, very simple. All as long as you land those first 2 punches, you are golden.
Still on an amazing pace here with Salt's run, so maybe we'll see a world record live.
That would be amazing.
Alright, so Dawn 2 is easily the most hated fight for most people, except for apparently Salt here likes this fight because he gives them good RNG occasionally. I like to get a lot of stars. I like to get a lot of stars.
It's very random.
Yes, it's very random, but basically you have to punch him in kind of a delayed fashion, and essentially you're trying to just not get hit and punch him multiple times to get the stars. He goes into a really defensive pattern at 1 minute and 30 seconds, so you want to get your first 2 knockdowns and have a star before that point. If you do that, you can get a fairly quick time that's just over that time period, but you can also do some other strats which can help a lot, so we'll see exactly what Salt does here. It's looking like he's on pace for what I was saying. So when he gets back up, he's going to go into that defensive pattern I said. He's kind of RNG oriented. He will block some number of times. And I mean, literally that, it just won't decide when he wants to punch. But he goes and punches right away, which is amazing. So that's a really good luck on Dawn 2. Because he can block literally as many times he decides to do it. So 146, still amazing pace going in here, man.
And what you saw Salt do there, that's actually an nearly infinite punch combo as long as you alternate 2 lefts and 1 right. A lot of people don't seem to know about that trick on Dawn 2, but it does exist. It's pretty cool.
So because we're not going for RTA, he's going to take the half health list because we're going to take a knockdown in the middle of the fight, which allows for a faster KO for this fight. He's going to start with these sort of manipulated dodge and then punch in the gut. These are actually very hard to do. It's, in my opinion, one of the hardest bits in the game to learn. You have to do a quick dodge while holding up and then tap up again to get him to manipulate and get him in the gut. But if you do that, you do the most damage you can in this first phase. Once we hit, I think it's the 45-second mark, he starts going into his actual, or sorry, 50-second mark. He starts going into his other pattern, which you basically will do this sort of buffer to get max damage. Essentially, you throw a punch, he dodges, and he punches at you, and you can kind of see that right now. The most important part about this phase is you want to get him down before the 130 mark. Obviously, faster is better, but once he hits 130, he does the Sandman signature move, which is the Dreamland Express. These are a couple of uppercuts, which you can do quick dodges for an even faster time, or alternatively, of course, you can just hit them normally and go from there. But you'll see him go into these right now. It's very important he dodges these. And he gets them. So now he's going to be able to punch him in the gut a whole bunch of times, and hopefully get him down pretty quickly, and essentially take that knockdown after this, and do the dodge from the Dreamlands, and go on from there.
Yeah, the reason why that we take an intentional knockdown on Mr. Sandman is after the 2-minute mark of the fight. If you get up after being knocked down, the first move that he does is his Dreamland Express. And you want to dodge and counter that because, as we just saw in Phase 2, you can land a ton of punches against that. So it very much speeds up the rest of the fight by in-game time.
But for RTA, it's faster not to take knockdowns since it takes a long time.
And I just want to point out that I appreciate Salt sacrificing a little bit of time to show off my favorite glitch in this game, Midget Sandman. I hope you guys enjoyed that, because that was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was wondering if it was just me. I was like, wait, is that crazy? There we go, that's a 242 on Sandman. So now we're going into Super Macho Man. This is a very technical fight that I don't know any or all the details for, so why don't you go ahead and take us away from this one, Mr. Jackamus.
Oh my lord. Super Macho Man is a very complicated fight. Generally the strategy is going to be to use Dizzy Destroyers when he's idle. There's manipulations to land star punches, because normally he'll start dodging them after you land 2. He has 2 different patterns he can go into at the start of the fight. He can throw only 5 punches and then go into a delay where he's idle and Salt will put him down quickly, or he can just keep throwing punches, which will make the fight take longer. Once you get up once Macho Man gets up after you knock him down, he goes into his super spin, and he can spin. Well, typically, as long as you stick to the speedrun strategies, Macho Man will never spin more than 8 times. 3 to 8 is the amount. But depending on your bad luck and how long the fight goes and how much you get of the strats, Macho Man could literally spin forever. Another Punch-Out runner, Weejui, actually made a quick pass that had Macho spin, I think, 186 times in a row. So, yeah.
Wow.
Macho's not a very nice man a lot of the time.
The good thing, though, at least for the usual speedrun, is that the clock actually freezes during that period, so you don't lose any time for those. But in RTA, you do. So.
Yes, and in RTA, those extra spins add up very quickly. And I think there's been a couple of races in the ongoing Punch-Out tournament where Macho's spins actually did decide the outcome of the race for one participant or another. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it did happen once or twice.
Yep. So now we're going into Tyson. This is one of the hardest fights in the game, basically because if you want to get around one, you have to land a whole bunch of frame-perfect punches, and they require a little bit of a delay. There's no real good visual cue for them. You just kind of have to know them. I mean, you can do a couple of things to sort of time them a little bit better, but there really isn't anything perfect. So we're going to see some dodges with some delayed punches, and hopefully we can see a really close or a really quick time for the first knockdown. Ideally, you want to get him down by 104 for the first knockdown, and if you do that, it allows for pretty much guaranteed round 1 knockdown, but hopefully we'll see ourselves at 55 here, because that's what we're hoping for.
Salt opening very strongly here in Phase 1.
Sub-minute is a really good time. This is a very solid pace. This will give him more uppercuts in the second phase, which allows for more damage, because the uppercuts are the best way to damage this particular fighter. After that, he goes into a jabs pattern. You can do frame-perfect punches there, but it still doesn't do nearly as much as dodging and punching for these uppercuts.
Well, each individual punch will do the same amount of damage, but you only get 1 as opposed to 2, so you want to get as many uppercuts as possible. That's the key to getting Tyson in round 1 reliably. And Salt has an automatic round 1 here with that 137-second knockdown. We are going to see round 1 TKO, and it's going to be awesome.
He's going for those frame-perfect punches in this phase, which do more damage than if you just punched him twice. And you can see that because of that, he got himself a TKO at 221. It's an amazing time.
That is. That's a
That was fun.
220 Tyson in a marathon run. I am.
And time, by the way.
Wish I didn't miss that one in Phase 2 though, because that cost like another 5 seconds. It would have been like a 216, but not gonna complain about a 221.
That was amazing. So you think that was a world record?
No.
I don't think so either. But I was hoping you'd say yes and we could all like look at it and be happy.
It was like, okay, through Dawn 2, that was probably like the second best run ever. And then Dawn 2 decided to give bad luck, and then I got bad luck on Sandman on Macho, and then did pretty well on Tyson, I guess, but yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone's adding your times up manually, Salt, but I'm thinking you probably have a very low 16-minute time by the in-game clock on that run, so that was a really tight run, man. And I want to say, I really appreciate that you sacrificed a few seconds to show off Midget Sandman. That was a very wise decision. I think everyone appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, I had to do it. I had to. There's no choice. Anyway, Figbird and Jack, thanks for commentating, guys. Sorry I kind of had to give you short notice, but I really appreciate it.
Hey, you gave me more notice than the Gimmicks guys did.
Yeah. If you guys liked what you saw, appreciate it if you give me a follow, and thank you to Best of NES for having me. It was a fun run.
Thanks for the great run, Salt.
Indeed, it was excellent. Next up, we've got ourselves the Tysonator show. I have no idea what to see here or what to expect, but this should be pretty awesome. He's a great
going to be
dude
amazing.
Always makes me laugh.
Please stick around for Tysonator, guys. It's going to be worth the show.
This is going to be sweet.
Yep. Alright, well, thanks for watching, everyone.